a Rumble rant or a super chat. We will definitely read everything that comes through. Abby's on it over there. And we're going to give a shout out, a thank you to Salvo for your sponsorship. We really appreciate it over these last few months. And to Steve and Emily for helping us out here and keep the lights on in our podcast. If you would like to sponsor us, if you're a business or a candidate, please see our website to do so. And you can also support us as just a donation to the cause, to the efforts.
To the cause. Keeping
the lights on, literally. The purple lights. They're really pretty. pretty purple lights. We got some stuff to chat about tonight.
Always so much to talk about.
Always so much going
Especially
on.
since we skipped a week.
Yeah.
And we've got an extra week of stuff to talk about tonight.
Gosh, it's just been so much. I can't even. All right. So what's new, guys? Miss Commissioner. Congratulations, Commissioner.
Yes, I got sworn in 2 weeks ago now.
Woohoo.
Got sworn in, and I think it was one of the shortest commission meetings I've attended. And now I'm sitting up on the dais, and my whole family and friends.
Was it weird sitting up there?
No, because I was on the code board and the charter review committee, and we sat up there. So it was kind of like, okay, I've been up here before.
Okay.
And I will say that it is definitely easier to stay engaged and paying attention when you're sitting up there. Obviously, you got everybody watching you. But
yeah.
I just, naturally, I just found myself, listening. We had a presentation that first night on the city of Pompano is going to... There's a small portion of the south end of town that's on the reuse water for the sprinklers. They're going to gradually roll that out further north through town. So they did a presentation on that. And it's like, okay, yeah, listening, I'm taking in the information. There's little screens in front that is, a mirror of the one screen they have on the side wall that has the PowerPoint presentation. So it's kind of nice to have your own very own screen.
You probably see it a lot better. I know sometimes at the BOCA meetings, they would have these things up on the thing, and I wanted to be like,
well, especially
I can't see the lines.
Especially if you're like me, I grew up a back row Baptist, and so when I would attend these city commission meetings, I was usually planted in the back row, and I made a comment during my first remarks up on the dais about relinquishing my back row seat, coming to the front. But yeah, sometimes I'd be like, what does that say?
What does that say?
So we had another meeting on Tuesday night. So and we had a special workshop last Wednesday night. Because we just have so much going on in the small town of Lighthouse Point.
How many residents are in Lighthouse Point?
There's just under 12,000.
Okay.
So it's not the smallest city or town in Broward.
Hamlet.
But we sure do have a lot going on right now. We're trying to finalize the charter review recommendations to go on the ballot in November, and that's got to be submitted to the SOE by June 10th or 20th. I can't remember what it is.
Something like that.
And then in addition to that, we're doing the land development code rewrite, and we've got to approve all of those. So we have a special commission meeting on the 30th of this month to approve at least the first reading of those ordinances. So just a lot going on. And then, we get into budget season and all of that. But
budget season, baby. The most exciting time of the year. If you are interested in what your municipality or county are going to be budgeting for, now is the time to get involved and not the 2 weeks before they pass the budget when everything's already been written.
For all of our viewers or listeners that live in the city of Lighthouse Point, the budget workshop will be before the June 25th commission meeting. So at 4 p.m., they always do the budget workshop at 4. So I'm actually going to have to leave work early that afternoon, but it is what it is.
C'est la vie.
It is
of
what
a life
it is.
of a commissioner.
Yes. And the budget workshop, that's when all the department heads come and they present their portions of the budgets, and the commissioners ask lots of questions.
All the questions.
And I mean, by the time it gets to that point, obviously the administration has already pencil whipped the budget to the extent that they can.
Pencil whipped.
You like that?
I like that. That's a good term.
That's a nerdy accountant term.
I was going to say, is that an accounting term?
Shout out to all my brethren that are still toiling away for 415.
Yes.
I still have 14 returns left to file, so it's going to be a busy weekend.
I'm so thankful I don't have to worry about that.
But yeah, so June 25th, budget workshop, 4 p.m. And then obviously part of the agenda for the meeting that I got sworn in was setting the dates for the public hearings for the budget and the trim notices and all of that. So it's we're hurtling through 2024. It's crazy that,
I mean, it's
near a third of the year is over.
Halfway. I mean, I'm looking at summer camps and vacation Bible schools and theater camps, and my kids are like, I want to do this one and I want to do that one. And I'm like, oh, cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching.
I know.
Lovely. School's almost over. My kids just had
almost out.
testing done. Their testing was done this week, and they're like I basically talked to my third my third grader's teacher. And she's like,
Still
kids are
in
done.
third
I'm
grade,
done.
are you,
Yeah,
Josie?
well, sometimes. Am I smarter than a third grader? I don't know. That's a good question. We'll see after the testing comes back.
So
Fingers crossed. Keep smarter than my kids. Anyway, the teacher's like, I can't believe we're almost done. The kids are done. The kids are done. The kids are done. She's like, the kids are done.
Yeah.
Everybody's done.
Yeah.
So we
When
still
do
have a
they
month.
Out.
yeah, I was gonna say
End
you
of
guys
May.
a month and a half.
Month and a half. Well, I'm taking my kids out for a couple days for Passover, so really we only have a week or so. And
That's
then
next week.
Passover's
No, two.
not next week, the week after.
Is it later than normal?
It is later than normal. So fun fact.
And Easter was way earlier.
Easter
than
was way
normal.
earlier.
Yeah.
So
I thought so.
it's later because the Jewish calendar goes off of the moon. And so we have, instead of the way we have like in the Gregorian calendar, we have a little bit of extra time that adds up to a full day every 4 years. We add up to an extra month every few years.
Oh,
So that's why. So it gets inserted into like the springtime is where the extra month goes in.
does the extra month have a name?
Adar Bet.
Oh, Adar. Yeah, that's in the Bible.
Yeah.
yeah.
Purim.
Okay.
Purim is the month of Adar.
Month of Adar. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
So Adar Bet is when it's the second. So Bet is 2.
Oh, it's like Adar is the normal month, and Adar Bet is like
the second
2.0.
month. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. So it gets put in, and then everything gets pushed back for a year. So actually, all of the Jewish holidays, the fall holidays, buckle up, are going to be like 2 or 3 weeks before the election.
Oh.
I know. I'm trying to not have a freak out.
when I was in public accounting in Fort Lauderdale, I worked with almost an entire team of Jewish people.
Sounds about right.
And Yom Kippur, Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur were
Yeah.
always during the fall busy
fall.
season, and it's just like, whew.
It's rough. Yeah.
And obviously those aren't like federal holidays.
No. So you have to take PTO
Yeah.
days.
Mhm.
Yep. My husband we always have to take PTO days, and we pull the kids out of school. I mean, Rosh
Mm-hmm.
Hashanah and Yom Kippur, usually the kids are out of school.
Mhm.
But yeah, so they're really late this year. And then
Is it Hanukkah's late too?
Hanukkah starts Christmas Eve or
Oh,
Christmas Day or something like that.
everyone.
So
Gifts
it's-
for everyone.
Yeah, everybody, woo, it's a party. So that's going to be fun. But anyway, didn't mean to derail the conversation, but that's why Passover's so late this year. That's why it
Gotcha.
doesn't coincide with Easter. So
It's
Yeah.
leap month.
Hmm?
It's leap month.
leap month, exactly. That's exactly. A leap month. And so, yeah, Passover is the 22nd.
Yes, and that's why I think our Broward GOP meeting's a week late. Since
Oh,
there's a
that would
fifth,
make
there's
sense.
a fifth Monday in the month.
Yeah.
I think we're having it the 29th.
That would make sense. We're having a lot of people. And today I just did the walkthrough actually for our community Seder for the restaurant that
Oh.
we're having it at.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Anyway, so back to Back to Abby at Broward and County and City Commission.
Yeah,
What else?
so I mean, just kind of digging in and
How big are your agendas?
I
I mean, obviously it varies.
we don't have a
but-
consent agenda.
Oh, you don't?
No,
Okay.
we do not do. Like, there's been rumors of maybe possibly going to one, but typically our agendas are anywhere from like 9 to 12, 13 items.
Oh,
Teeny tiny.
yeah.
But that's not where the majority of our time spent.
What is it?
The majority of our time spent in the presentations
Oh.
and the discussion, like new business,
Mm-hmm.
not in the resolutions and the ordinances and all
Mhm.
of that. So by moving to a consent agenda, I don't know how much time.
It's not really going to do a whole lot.
Probably not, just because so much of our time spent in non-agenda item time. I mean, by the time it comes to, a resolution or whatever, like there's already been numerous discussions about it at previous meetings. So we'll see.
I mean, people with microphones love to hear themselves talk.
We've got a few. We've got a few
I
on the
mean,
commission.
case in point, why we all have
I
microphones.
mean, I'm in this stage of my commission career where I'm just kind of like listening,
absorbing.
Learn how it works. Figure
Yeah.
it out. Figure out the little
But
nuances.
it's good. I mean, there was a concert in the park Saturday night in Lighthouse Point
So
with food trucks,
fun.
and so me and my
Oh, we
sister
did
and
that
her
in
mate,
Boynton.
yeah,
Mhm.
we went out, and sat and listened to the music, and ate our dinner, and it was Saturday night, which was like the perfect night.
Oh, it's been
It was
this
so
weather.
nice,
I
yeah.
can't even. We were in Boynton for the first Friday food trucks, and it
Mhm.
was just like
Hmm
gorgeous weather.
We have to remember this time of year when we get into August.
Just capturing it. I know. I keep telling my kids.
tonight. Actually, they're having some kind
Where
of
is-
Boca or the.
Oh
like-
yeah, State
night-
of the City.
No, it's
It's yeah.
Evening,
Oh no, it was last night.
Yeah, no, this is
Yeah, the State of the City in Meisner.
no, this is
Is it something else?
no, this was something else.
Oh, they were doing a State of the City event because they always do the State of the City, like speech.
City of Boca Night Market is tonight.
Oh, the
and they
night
have,
market.
And they have
That's-
food trucks and all of that.
I've never gone.
Where
I
is
gotta
that?
go. I think it's in Meisner, isn't it?
know.
Maybe not. I don't know. I don't know.
Oh,
Anyways.
please.
I should know.
So that's about.
Sanborn Square.
Sanborn Square. It's close to Meisner.
Where's that?
Sanborn Square is just south of Meisner Park
I just baked.
by Just Baked.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
There you go.
How do you know that, Stu?
Huh?
Huh?
They have
What?
great shakes.
Yes.
Just Baked. I don't know. It's by Yokohama.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yokohama.
That's
and
where-
then
yeah.
another restaurant there.
We went
too.
on our first date, my husband and I,
To the Yokohama?
to Yokohama.
Wait, that's a tire brand, by the way.
Oh, yes, it is. It is. You're right.
You're right, it is.
When I hear Yokohama,
You're like, why'd you go to Yokohama? You guys, what is that? No, we went to this movie. He wanted to be super cool and take me to this movie at FAU in the living room theater, which
Okay.
was like this, and it was like super weird indie film. And we were like, we left, we were like, that was really weird. What did she? He's like, I'm sorry. I was like, I know, me too. So anyway, we went to Yokohama afterwards. It's by there, Sanborn Square.
that's about all I've got so far
So far.
in the life of a commissioner.
All right. We should do a day in the life of the commissioner.
There you go.
Get ready with me.
I tell you, that meeting wasn't as boring as the Boca one was.
Aw, thanks, Stu.
You're welcome.
It was a
Excuse
short
me.
one.
Yeah, it was.
Excuse me. You didn't want to hear Scott sing or wax poetic?
Oh,
Yo, that host time. Can we leave? Can we leave?
He
Is it done yet?
was. He kept poking us, and I was like, "Shh! I'm trying to understand what's going on." And then Brian and I sit in the back, and Brian is so much fun to watch meetings with because he's just cracking jokes, like, it's ongoing. Like, so he's listening, but that's how he processes things
Yeah.
too. He's just like cracking jokes, and I was like, Brian, I can't focus like that. You can't keep making jokes in my ear.
Oh, I will say, Easter Sunday, I finished up at church and I went to the park because they had an Easter egg hunt for the kids at 1 p.m.
Oh, fun.
And I got to cut the tape. So they had like
Aw.
squares, like they had the kids
Small
separated
town
into age
commissioner. I
groups.
love
I
that.
know. They had the kids separated into age groups, and so I did the 5 to 7 year olds, and they had like police caution tape around stakes.
Oh, fun.
And oh my gosh, so there was like plastic eggs and like Tootsie Pops
Right.
scattered all over the ground, and 15 seconds.
oh yeah.
It was cleaned up like that.
Oh yeah.
It was over, and I was like, "Oh, this is an
And-
easy event."
Anytime you ever have anything that needs to be cleaned up, just throw some candy out there and everyone will clean it
Yeah.
all up.
Yep, the
It
kids
was
will take
super
care of
cute.
it.
Like all the kids, the little 5-year-olds, they were like strategizing before I cut the tape.
They're like, I'm gonna go there and you go there. And we're gonna go
Well, it was funny because they only had the tape on like two, maybe 3 sides, and all the kids lined up on the open side. Like, I got the scissors over here, guys.
They're like, come on, some industrial kid's gonna come around the end and they'll be like, haha, I got this whole half of the space before you guys get to me.
It was super cute.
Yeah.
Super
Oh,
cute.
that's awesome.
So
What you got,
That's
Jess?
awesome.
What's new?
What's new? I got a personal letter from Rick Scott thanking me for my help on Lincoln Day. So that was kind of
that's
cool.
so nice.
A
He's
hand-
so cool.
he's
I
so
really
sweet.
do
He-
like
yeah,
him
so-
as a person.
Yeah, so Lincoln Day, he actually came over to all of us that were doing like registration and stuff, shaked our hands and personally thanked us and said, if you ever need anything, my office is open. Don't hesitate to give us a call. Anything you need, So it was very sweet. And then to get like a handwritten note from
Yeah.
him, thanking me, I'm not the only one that got them, but just to get that was
oh yeah,
was pretty
it's
cool.
a nice
He was
nice
the
personal
Yeah.
note.
only one. He was the only one that spoke during his speech that talked about local. Like he
Yes.
started. There were a couple other later, but like no, for a while
Yes.
nobody talked about local candidates, and he talked about local candidates, and I definitely went woo, and nobody around me went woo, and I felt really weird because all the tables turned and looked at me. And I was like, it's definitely not the wine. It's local politics. Like this is
Right,
what we should
yes,
be wooing for.
yes,
But
I
anyway,
love that.
he was
I
the only
love
one who
that.
did that. He was
Yeah.
super.
So that was super sweet. REC meeting was last night. Best meeting that I think we've had in a really long time. It was very organized, no chaos. It was great to be able to.
Were any of the chaos stirrers there?
Yeah, there definitely were some, and so it was just nice to hear the the rundown from Lincoln Day and where we are at.
How much money did we walk away with?
I don't remember the exact total. I want to say I think there's like $600,000 in the bank right now, which is really good. And so so, really committed to our, candidates in November. The election operation team, stepped up and kind of said like what their strategy was for municipals and what their game plan was and how they helped, and really how, the volunteer coordination came into play. So it was a lot of really good information. We won 58% of our races in Palm Beach County. So, and then I think last time we were here, I think I announced that there were 3 runnons.
Yep.
We actually won 2 of those 3.
That's
so
awesome.
So we picked up
Shout
2
outs.
2 Wellington seats. So Maria Antuna and Amanda Silvestri picked up their seats in Wellington. So that was really awesome.
Where was the third runoff?
Pahokee.
Pahokee.
And she didn't fare too well in the runoff, so unfortunately. But
She was the incumbent, was she not?
I think
I
so.
believe so. Yep. Yeah. So, so that was really good to hear. I have been meeting with a lot of candidates and stuff. I've met with a couple people that are running for Congress and getting to kind of to know them and getting some information and just kind of seeing, where they're faring. And so, and in all reality, I kind of took like, a week and a half off a little bit, just kind of, I really cleaned my house and
Oh, I gotta do that spring cleaning. I'm like, all right, guys, it's time to clean our drawers and trying to clean the closet. Nobody wants to do it.
I had a few projects at work. One of my accounting assistants, quit, so that's been a little,
Always fun.
exhausting work. Anybody has needs an accounts payable job, reach out to me. I need an employee for accounts payable. But, so that's been, a little distraction, a good distraction, I think, just to kind of clear the head, clear my head and clear the weeds a little bit from politics as we step into this next section.
It's coming.
Of this next round. Of
The longest, I was having a conversation today, it's going to be the longest presidential election cycle ever. 204 days.
Yeah, because
to the election.
Well,
there's no more.
There's no more primaries.
Well, no, I don't.
No,
Yes,
but
there is. There's still.
Well,
primaries
I'm just
Obviously.
saying there is, but there's no one else in the primaries. There's only one
for
person for
presidential,
each. That's what I meant. I didn't mean no more primaries. I meant no more presidential preference
Yeah.
because there's only one each.
Yeah.
Party.
It comes down to November now.
Comes out. I'm like, can't we just do this tomorrow?
I know, right?
Why?
Like, can't we just get this over with and
Let's get
just
this
call
over
it done?
with and go to Civil War? No, I'm just kidding. I mean, look, we know it's all coming.
Well, it's very interesting that you mentioned that because it's like we say things like that, like Civil War, right? And so a lot of us in our minds, we think like muskets.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
like,
No,
at
I
the
know. Tim
battle
Pool always
lines,
says that. He's like, it's not going to be like that, guys.
But I'm like, this is really a civil war between the people
It's a battle of the minds.
and corporations and like who is going to control our government. Like that's really kind of what it kind of stems down to. And so one thing I really spent a lot of time thinking of is it's really sad with our municipals, the turnout and everything that we get. It's like this time it was a little high. I think it was nearing 20%, a little over in some
Not
areas.
in Boca.
Not in Boca.
Boca's just
And it
wah,
was
wah.
and it's so sad that it's like this small little percentage.
10% of the people decide for 100% of the people.
Yeah.
And then every 100% of the people complain.
Right. And it's like I just don't it's so frustrating when you like see and then you see like somebody lose a race and you're like, how does this happen? It's like so clearly different candidates, and it doesn't matter what city or what race it is or whatever, but it's like, and then you see the other guy win, and it's just like, how does it's like people don't get educated. They don't vet their candidates. It's like, they get a text from somebody and like, oh, he looks good. And then next thing you know, their mail-in ballot is on their way, on the way to be counted.
They spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
Look, we all like to say
If
that
you're
you
picking your candidates by your flyers, shame on you.
don't. Yeah, but people do because
Yeah.
that's how many. Andy, we got what? 5 flyers from Andy?
Yeah.
5
Yeah.
big ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He probably spent
Well, is what we realized too.
Like
is
$6 or
he-
$7 just on mailers to my house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He targeted new residents.
Yeah, no, he also targeted. But I'm not a new resident.
No, but he really went after new residents.
He went after new residents because they didn't know who he was.
Exactly.
So.
Because he knew that if he went over if he went more towards the longstanding Republicans.
I mean, he did do that because he targeted me.
I know, but to make up for that, he went for the newer
Well,
residents.
I'm not going to say anything because I don't know if it's out there public knowledge yet, but I'm not too upset about the direction things are going to go for that race. So I think it's going to be good for us in the long run. We'll see we'll see how much damage Andy does, but I don't know.
It's very interesting. I mean, the political scene and kind of hearing and knowing, you know, the rumors and the gossip. It's going to be a very interesting August.
August.
It's going to be a very interesting August.
Well, that's historically also low turnout,
Yeah.
25% maybe of voters. So listen, some of these races, once you pick the primary candidate, like that person could be it, like easily.
Yeah.
And then if you don't like the primary candidate, you got to use your voice to vote in the primary.
And the thing of it is that from a party level, it's hard to get involved in August when you have multiple Republicans running for a race. And so, you know, unfortunately, is what's going to happen is the party is going to say, figure it out. You know,
The party's going to say
it's up to the voters.
I would like to see this will go a long way for personal decisions. If I'm going to make a personal decision on voting for a candidate, is if those candidates make a commitment that they will 100% support whoever wins the primary for that position, because we historically like to take our toys and go home when we lose. And when we do that, we don't beat the Democrat.
All of the candidates that are running against other candidates are not going to do that.
I know. I'm just telling the candidates that are out there, this would go a long way to getting
because their behavior is not telling
they're not
us
no
that
not
they're gonna play nice.
no. But I'm just saying, if you want to make that decision, to make that commitment and say, I will play nice, whoever wins will get my full support, I will tell all my volunteers, I will tell all my donors, I will tell all my people that whoever wins this race needs to go out and beat whoever it is, Jaron Moskowitz, Lois Frankel, whatever it may be. If you're not going to do that, then you're not actually playing for the party. You're playing for yourself. And why should I elect you if you're going to go up there and play for yourself?
It's very interesting because the candidates and stuff that I have been talking to, you know, those have been my key questions. If you lose, what are you going to do? Are you committed to this? Are you going to, you know, stay committed to?
Are you going to go door knock for the person that you just had to beat or lose to?
Are you really invested, or do you just want to win? And hearing their answers, you know, thankfully I've gotten some good answers, but there are some that I'm just like, yeah, I don't think that's what the plan is. So it's just
that makes you be like, but yeah, this is why we lose. Come on, guys. Let's not take our toys and go home. Let's keep our toys here and everyone play together.
I mean,
possible?
that would be nice. I mean, it definitely would.
Am I asking
really
too
nice.
much, Abby?
I don't know. It is the Republican Party.
I know.
And you know,
Gosh.
that's the thing too, is a lot of people want the party to get involved, and you know, I've had some I guess arrows slung at me lately about, you know, not being involved in some things and being involved in others and things of that nature, and it gets very difficult when you're trying to, you know, play Switzerland and also try to make sure that everybody is getting, you know, their needs met as much as possible, you know, within the party, but we can only do so much.
Yes, if there are just so people know, if you are not aware of how the party works, the Republican Party of Palm Beach County, so the REC or BREC, they cannot take a stance on a Republican primary or a race where there are two Republicans unless a majority of the members vote specifically to endorse that candidate.
Case in
a
point,
meeting.
Breck had a special election at a special January meeting to formally endorse Glenn Theobald in the Pembroke Pines municipal race. He got well over 60% of the vote in the room that night, and so we formally endorsed him
Right.
as our candidate. And
So it can
supported
happen,
him.
but unless the body gets together and actually votes on that,
we have to stay
we
neutral.
have to stay
in a
neutral.
contested
So
primary.
in
Yeah.
a contested primary or in a nonpartisan race where there's two or more Republicans running,
And I want
like
to
in a
clarify
school
too,
board or a
that
city
means
council.
like when we're out knocking doors, when we're promoting candidates, things of that nature. We're all entitled to our own personal opinion.
And you can go door knocking for a candidate not wearing your REC persona
Correct.
and say, I'm here on behalf of this candidate.
Right.
I'm not
Correct.
here as your REC
Correct.
member. You can't go to according to the thing that we sign when we become an
The
REC
oath.
member, the oath,
oath.
that's the thing.
The loyalty oath.
The loyalty oath. If you go door knock and say, I am your REC representative, you need to vote for this candidate, and it's a Republican candidate running against another Republican, that's a no-no.
Correct.
So just so
It's a violation of the oath.
it's a violation of the oath. So just so to clarify for our viewers, in case anybody who isn't in the party doesn't know that that's how that works, because the whole point of the Republican Party is to support Republican candidates,
Get Republicans elected.
get Republicans elected, and to support you as a Republican voter on. Here's the information about all the candidates running. You make an informed decision. We empower you to make that decision. We don't tell you who to pick.
And that's our job as precinct committee
That's
people,
what I'm saying,
is
yeah.
to make sure that we're getting out all of the information and making sure that our voters are as educated and engaged as possible so that they are empowered enough to vote for the best candidate for the job, which
exactly
means
it.
that they have vetted their candidates, they've called them, they've asked questions. If, I think I've probably said this before, but like if you would have told me 3 or 4 years ago that I could call my state representative and ask her questions, I would have been like, no, I
can't do that.
It's a famous person.
Oh, no.
And now I'm like, oh, I can.
Oh, hi, Peggy. What's up? How you doing?
Speaking of, Peggy gave a legislative update yesterday at the REC meeting.
Oh, how?
nice.
Yeah, what'd she say?
Yes,
What's up?
she talked about the motor voter bill. The one,
The what?
The what?
the motor voter bill that was where.
That is what she said, right?
The motor voter.
So
What is
Roger,
that?
Roger, what's your vector, Victor?
Voter
so
voting.
That's the one where when you would go
That's all I heard.
When you would go to
Oh, I
the
know what you're
DMV,
talking about.
You know, our
Yeah.
version of the DMV, the Florida Highway Safety Patrol, whatever.
When
it
you
is.
go to the
When
DMV,
you
they
go
were
to the
they were
DMV.
flipping
Highway
your
Safety Patrol.
registration.
Yeah, that's what it's called.
They were flipping your registration
Yes.
back
Right.
then.
Oh,
Yay.
that one. Okay, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So she talked about that, how she actually
It
worked.
passed and he signed it, right?
Yep. So it actually, like she said, that David Kerner helped, and
Still doesn't. Nope.
No, I know.
Still
know.
no.
But it took several aspects to be able to, pass that bill. And then she also talked about the Epstein bill.
Oh,
about
yeah.
how that is all of that grand jury stuff.
That was
is gonna
bipartisan.
Did you
is
guys?
gonna
Okay.
be released soon.
In an intro
July
to Tim
1st.
Pool, everyone knows I love me some Tim Pool, right?
Yeah.
Tim Pool, in an intro, when that bill was coming out, he said, Peggy got assignment in Boca Raton, Florida. And I was like, whoa! I think he said, yeah, Highland Beach and Boca Raton, who represents Highland Beach and Boca Raton, Florida. And I was like, that's us.
Yep.
Hey, look at what we did. Woo!
Yep. Yep. So, she was very excited about that, to be able to give us a really update. I think she said she sponsored something like 80 bills or something this
I mean,
session.
she
She
has
kicks
worked her
butt.
butt off there.
So-
and I definitely think she deserves a second term.
Yes. And so
Are there any rumblings? Who's running
There's a
against her?
Democrat running
there's
against her.
there's a Democrat running against her.
Stu's laughing.
Oh, and Stu's weighing in.
He's raved. I haven't checked the numbers, but my understanding is he's raved somewhere between $300,000 and $500,000 already.
What?
He is a transplant from New York who sleeps with 3 chihuahuas and a chicken.
Chicken?
A chicken.
That sounds
He sleeps
painful.
with the chicken.
Wait. So he's a carpetbagger
Yes.
A domiciled carpetbagger?
with a chicken.
Yes.
What's his name?
He's Looney Tunes.
No, we can't
Um,
say their
Tunes.
we can't say
We
their
can't
names.
say his name. All right, yeah,
Oh,
no
yeah.
names.
He who shall not be named.
He was wait, the chicken man. That's what we're
Chicken
gonna
man.
call him. I mean, if he sleeps with chickens, come on.
I'll forward you guys the article so you can read it.
Oh
But,
my
um,
gosh!
Yeah, so that was very interesting. So they
What
are
kind of
coming-
transplant?
Well, I don't know all of the details, but that's all that we really kind of need to know, right?
So
Chicken
basically,
man.
it's gonna be easy to beat him.
I
mean,
$300,000 to $500,000 is nothing to
Our
sneeze
POF
at.
is going to
so and Peggy only won by like 3,000 votes or something.
3 points, I think.
Yeah, so
It's going to be a different election. I mean,
It
like
is.
22 was
And-
so lopsided.
And I'm not. I don't think she's scared, but I think she's concerned that
Yeah.
if she's not able to really get the message out in the community, that they may choose to, vote for this other person.
The
And-
chicken man.
And so
Oh, gosh, I
Peggy
can
got
already see the
assignment,
mailers.
She's 91.
91.
91.
Yeah.
So please check her out. If you like what she has to say, please give her a few dollars. She could really use the help. She could use some volunteers. I met her her campaign manager
Oh, yeah.
yesterday. Very nice guy. And been working with, just kind of helping them get coordinated and stuff
So
here
that
on the
district,
ground.
just so you guys know, is Highland Beach, Boca Raton, out to West Boca.
Yeah. It's basically
think it's
all
a-
of Boca Raton.
Yeah, but it's not past.
It's not past like 441.
441.
yeah.
Right.
It goes up to 441,
Yeah,
and that's
that's
Kelly
92.
Skidmore.
West of 441?
Yeah.
Yeah. West of 441.
It's weird.
So it's a good chunk of West.
Can I
Boca.
segue off of your legislative update? Okay, so how many Thursdays ago now? Time's flying by. I would say like
6.
2-3 weeks ago. It was the week before Easter, so it was like 3 weeks ago now. I was invited by my state representative Chip LaMarca to attend his bill signing with the governor.
Oh,
which was in
Well, that's
Fort Lauderdale
exciting.
at Progresso Village, and
I think Peggy was there too.
I don't remember seeing Peggy. The wine bill, the oversized wine bottle bill.
What's the oversized wine bottle? Are you taking away oversized wine bottles?
No, it's actually the opposite. So this is
Oh.
something that we've talked about here on the podcast about reducing regulations.
Yes.
Yeah.
And passing bills to cut down on red tape. And that's exactly what Chip did with this bill. He's been working on this bill for the better part of 5 years.
What's the bill?
Wow.
I don't know the bill number off the top of my head, but basically there was a law in the books in Florida that the maximum size of a wine bottle that could be sold in Florida was only like, I don't know, so many liters.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, people could order these massive, like basically almost 4 gallons worth of wine bottle from out of state, like in California, New York, whatever, and have it shipped to them.
You could have it shipped here, but you couldn't buy it from a distributor
Correct.
here in the state.
Correct. And so, like, and if you're having like a wedding or you're having a bar bat mitzvah or
Or
a big
a
celebration
restaurant
or
or something where you
like
have
they-
table wine. Yeah.
right, you couldn't buy it in the state, and so the state retailers and
Losing
wholessalers
money.
were losing money.
Ah, and tax
And
dollars.
so this
my
bill revoked the limit. And fun fact, these really big bottles are called Nebuchadnezzars. So it was really
Now you
ironic.
can order a Nebuchadnezzar
You can-
size
a
bottle.
Nebby.
Bottle Nebby.
But it's really ironic of all the bill signings to invite me to
Because you don't
because I don't drink. But it was
Except for Aperol
it was
Spritz.
a
No, I'm
very
just kidding.
small. It was a very small, like intimate presser. It wasn't a real big venue. Apparently, the owner, it was called Wine Watch in Fort Lauderdale, and the owner is a high school friend of Chip's.
Aw.
And so he had it at his restaurant. And I was there, and Commissioner John Brody was there, and Fort Lauderdale Commissioner John Herbst was there. And
John
Chip
Brody.
gave us each a little shout out
Aw.
when he got up to speak after the governor, spoke initially. And then the governor gave us all a shout out about he was fielding questions, and the usual cast of characters, reporters were there. But I'm trying to think specifically what the question was about. But the governor made reference to, hey, look, Republicans are even getting elected here in Broward County. I was like,
You're right. We're winning. We win.
no, I mean we've
Hashtag
got,
winning.
Obviously we're we're a small band of warriors in the county.
Yeah.
That there's quite a few along the coastal section of Broward, but we're taking ground where we can, and it's because we stand for common sense.
Well, the DNC's pulled out their money of Florida.
Yes.
They're not.
Yeah.
So I
It is
have
not
so that was-
competitive for them
I want
anymore.
to bring something interesting to the table, and then I want to talk about how that could all this in the fall. But okay, so we had a fundraiser meet and greet event for Bill last
yeah.
night at a brewery up in Boynton. Shout out Nobo, great brewery, great beer, cool place. They were super great to work with. Were super nice, and so I was chatting with the owner. And he was talking about like distribution. So hopefully I get this right. So if you're a brewery owner and I don't get this right, drop it in the comments. So from my understanding, this is breweries don't get to own the distribution rights to their beer once it leaves their facility. They can't sell directly to a restaurant down the street. It has to be sold to a distributor, and then the distributor sells it to the restaurant. This is causing massive problems because
There's now a middleman.
There's a middleman.
there's a middleman, more regulation. So he said that, there's also a law that has to sit on the distributor's warehouse
Inventory
for 24 hours before it can go to the restaurant. So the distributor's up in Sanford. So
Oh, good Lord.
yeah, so the Hurricane Alley down the street from Nobo calls on a Friday, hey, we're out. Can you sell us a keg? He can't sell them a keg. They have to place an order with the distributor, who then can't get it until Monday. Comes to the brewery on Monday to pick it up, then has to take it back to their place. As soon as that place is going to get it is 3 days later.
Yeah.
And he's like, this is ridiculous. And not only that, he's like out $100,000 because he had a distributor who hadn't paid their bill, had taken the beer, hadn't paid their invoice, and then went belly up. And he's out the money.
Chip, you freed the grapes. Now
Free
you
the
gotta
grapes.
free the hops.
Free the hops. Free the hops. Free the hops. And I was like, this is fascinating. And I said, so who benefits? Why has this not been changed? He said, so the big distributors like Anheuser-Busch, Coors, they don't care.
No.
They don't
No.
care. And they're the ones who cut the big checks
Yeah.
to the lobbyists and to the legislators. So freed the grapes. Time to free the hops. This is ridiculous. Let's support our businesses.
Yeah.
This is
We have a lot of local breweries.
We do.
we have a lot of local breweries.
Shout out to Barrel of Monks who
Yeah.
launched
Yeah.
the Locals for Liberty.
Launched
We
Locals
met.
for Liberty.
We met in
we have
there upstairs.
Prosperity.
Yeah.
We got Novo. We've got Copper Point up there. We got Saltwater Brewery in Delray. I mean, there's tons of little micro
26 degrees in Pompano.
I mean, Funky Buddha started in Boca in a tiny little hookah.
They were in Boca first.
They were
Before
Yeah,
Oakland
they were.
Park.
I was an
Wow.
OG attendee before they were even known for brewing beer. It was a hookah bar.
Oh,
And like
interesting.
tea, and then they would brew like 2 beers, and they would sell them for like super cheap, and they'd sell like Budweiser for like $10, so that you would buy their beer.
That's smart.
And then they opened the store to sell the homebrew stuff, and then they grew from there. And then when I saw Funky Buddha in a restaurant, I was like, oh my gosh, this is
And
crazy.
isn't that silly? Because they can sell, and like you can go buy a 6-pack from there and take it
Yes.
home, but
Yeah.
you can't
Take it to a restaurant. It's so government regulation.
But it's exactly what you said. Like the big companies
Mhm.
put money into making sure that everything is tilted their way.
Yep.
Yep.
And who gets crushed? The little
The
guy.
little guy.
Mhm.
So
That's just like during COVID.
all
you
of
know,
it. Yeah.
Who profited? Amazon,
Yep.
Walmart.
I mean, it
Who,
was the
who
biggest
got put out of
biggest-
business?
tiny little
Mom and
mom
pops.
and pop restaurants,
Yeah.
mom and pop stores. It was the biggest wealth shift that we had
In
seen
history.
in history.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
crazy.
It
So-
was calculated.
It was very calculated. What else? Anybody else? I want to segue into something else, but before you do, I do.
I don't know. I did attend an event the other day, and it was at 50 Ocean.
Oh,
Supporting
yeah.
Jody
Was it
Schwartz.
good?
Yeah, it was really good. It was really good. So that was another great little venue.
Okay,
So
Yeah,
that's
if
on my
anybody's
list.
looking- It's beautiful. It was so nice. It was so sweet.
It's on the
Yeah.
ocean.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
second,
right on
second
Delray.
floor, and you could see the
Oh.
whole.
Yeah, great
Yeah.
staff. Just a kind of a great little get together.
Mm-hmm.
And I know candidates are always looking for places to do events. So
So
we're
Novo,
happy to
50
share
Ocean.
a few. We're happy to share a few.
Yeah.
I'm sure I have some other things.
It'll
but
pop up.
It is what it is. So
So,
All right, Josie, what you got
Okay,
on your mind?
I have 2 things. Well, I have a few things, but I have lots of things. Okay, so one, I did actually when we were talking about Boca, I wanted to say that something I was very disappointed in the Boca City Council is I attended an event last week for the Gray Team, which is an organization that supports veterans. They have the coolest facility. If you want to support an organization that is truly helping veterans, the Gray Team is it. They do a 90-day program for veterans coming in, and they serve veterans, any vet coming out of Vietnam all the way to just let go last week. It doesn't, all veterans. And they go through a 90-day program where they do like a physical training. They have a gym there with a personal trainer. And so they create a personal training program for them that meets their needs, whether they're missing limbs or whatever it is. And then they also have a very full holistic approach to it. So they have red light therapy. They've got infrared saunas. They've got
sound therapy.
They've got this vibration therapy that helps put the body in super, super deep sleep because a lot of veterans can't sleep.
Yeah.
The infrared sauna helps them detox from burn pits. They said that they go into the sauna and they'll come out and have black goo coming out of their skin from the
Wow.
burn pits that they lived by in Afghanistan and Iraq. And then they have these brain wave mapping things to help with traumatic brain injury. They added a hyperbaric chamber. They have 100% success rate that no veteran who's gone through their program has committed suicide.
Wow.
So they're really, really serving, actively walking out, serving the veteran community. So they had their big gala event. They're actually having another one tonight, but it's a bit different process. But their big one that they hosted was last week. And this is located in Boca Raton. Not a single city council member was there. There was one elected official there and one candidate. Marcy was there and Bill was there. And they were the only 2 people who are elected or trying to be elected. And I was just disappointed. I mean, this is an organization in our community that's supporting our community and our city council people, none of them.
Yeah.
Either they didn't know about it, and if they didn't know about it, shame.
Yeah.
And if they did
Next
know
one
about
is April 5th, 2025.
already on the calendar, you should mark your calendars, because this is something that we need to support. And I don't care what goes on behind the scenes, personalities, I don't know. I see all that all the time. It doesn't matter. This is the forward facing of what this is to the community, not seeing my own elected representative supporting this organization that is in our city was very disappointing. So
Yeah.
I had to get that off my chest because this is my microphone moment to do it.
I saw a couple videos from that event. It seemed really awesome.
It was so cool. They had this they did like a breach of the door. So they had this they showed this film of them approaching the Boca Resort and
Oh, is that where they had it?
Yeah, it was at the Boca.
Yeah.
Well, it's the Boca Raton. It's not
Oh,
the
they
Boca-
just call it the Boca Raton
It's
now?
now called
Yeah.
the Boca Raton.
Fun
yeah.
fact.
Yeah.
I used to work there
Me
every
too.
day.
It was my first
I
job.
was stuck in a back room with the
Haley
audit
worked
team.
there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we were the
My daughter
I did the
worked there,
tax
too.
returns.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
No, I got to work out front with all the people. I was
No.
in the hallway, we were in the hall, not the hallway, the grand hallway where they have all the auction stuff and the
Oh,
check-in and
yeah.
all that. And I was like, man, the amount of balloons I blew up in here, raw fingers. Yeah, it
people
was-
would be playing croquet out on the lawn. I'd be stuck in this
Yeah.
nasty back room.
I had to wear the
with the audit
worst
team.
uniform. Gosh, I was 18. Yeah, my brother parked cars there. It was his first big boy
My-
job.
My junior, senior, we didn't have a prom. We had a banquet at Highlands. My junior year was there.
Yeah, they always had that. I remember actually the night my senior prom was there, but I didn't go because I was homeschooled. But I always swam for the high school swim team, so I knew a lot of the
Yeah.
people. But I was there working, not that event. I
Oh.
was working another event because I worked in events and
Yeah.
stuff like that, or I worked in activities. And I was just like, oh my gosh! I started to see all these people. I was like,
Oh.
hide! No. So yeah. Anyway, it was just really a bummer, and I would like to see that change
Yeah.
between now and next year. And I would like to see more support from our elected officials for organizations in our community that do such good work.
Yeah.
So that's my soapbox. But I wanted to talk about, you were talking about how we're slowly turning Broward County red and how we're getting this, clawing our way
Yeah.
to
Literally.
victory by victory by victory,
Mhm.
and how
Chipping away.
chipping away, no pun intended, Chip Lamarca. How is the bill that is the abortion
Amendment.
Thank
Constitutional
you. Constitutional amendment to abortion going to impact that? So that's kind of what I wanted to.
How
flesh
how
out
is
tonight.
that going to impact our local and state elections?
Yes,
in
because
November?
we all know that is a very emotional
Very.
issue for both sides of the aisle, and as
Mhm.
it should be. It is.
Yeah.
It's taking its life, and
Mhm.
it should be an emotional issue. But will it drive out voters enough to flip anything? So I wanted to talk a little bit about what the constitutional amendment says,
Mhm.
what we're talking about, so we can be educated as we're out speaking to people in the community.
So, according to Ballotpedia,
Love Ballotpedia.
the proposed ballot summary, what you're going to read on the ballot and vote yes or
in
no
November. This is
in
on
November.
the November ballot.
This is on the general election ballot. No law shall prohibit, penalize, delay, or restrict abortion before viability or when necessary to protect the patient's health as determined by the patient's healthcare provider. This amendment does not change the legislature's constitutional authority to require notification to a parent or guardian before a minor has an abortion.
Okay.
And then, let me go back up. A vote yes supports establishing a constitutional right to abortion before fetal viability, and a vote no opposes establishing a constitutional right to abortion before fetal viability.
So voting yes supports abortion up to birth, essentially, because
Because there's nothing
There's
in
nothing
the
There's no
in the-
limits. There's
yeah.
no.
viability is up to the healthcare provider.
Correct.
So take that for what it will. You will.
And also to protect the life of the mother, which is also a
Arbitrary.
that wasn't the word I was going to use.
Sorry.
Subjective.
Subjective.
Yeah.
Yes.
Subjective.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah, that-
Better than arbitrary. Yes, you're right.
Yeah,
Subjective.
there's a lot of words in there that are very subjective that can be taken different ways, and it's basically who determines, and it's basically a healthcare provider. Well, a chiropractor is a healthcare provider, a podiatrist is a healthcare provider.
The nurse at Planned Parenthood's a healthcare provider.
exactly.
Does she get to decide if it's viable or not? Like, who decides
Exactly.
this? It doesn't. It actually says the healthcare provider. It doesn't even say the mother. So the mother, I just look.
Yeah.
So I have this
Determined
thought
by
process.
the healthcare provider. is
So
the word.
and just to kind of like cap this off, like because this is an amendment to the Florida Constitution, this is what would be added to our Constitution. Limiting government interference with abortion, period. Except as provided in Article 10, Section 22, no law shall prohibit, penalize, delay, or restrict abortion before viability or when necessary to protect the patient's health as determined by the patient's healthcare provider. That's specifically what our Constitution will read.
So let's game theory this for just a hot second. You have a woman who might have some mental health issues, and is pregnant, and the healthcare provider decides this woman needs an abortion because she's not stable enough to carry through on the pregnancy, does that healthcare provider get to decide if she gets an abortion based off of the verbiage of this?
It's a healthcare provider.
Right. That's what I'm saying. This is so dangerous.
Well, like in the amendment text, like to protect the patient's health, like the healthcare provider could interpret that as the patient's mental health.
Right. So what
It's
if the
very
patient
wi-
can't
it's very
consent or doesn't
open-ended.
consent, but
Yeah.
the healthcare provider does? So what this is? So here's my issue. An abortion is a very sensitive topic. So I want to be sensitive to that. I have like my own personal moral stance on it, and then I understand the way that politics is downstream from culture. So what I would like to see more, if we can hopefully knock this down, I don't think that this is a good bill for the women of Florida, and that is why. Because if a healthcare provider or someone else gets to decide what is viable, what is good for you, it's not saying if a mother so chooses, it's saying if a healthcare provider decides it. So it's
It's a slippery slope
slippery
because
slope.
It's very gray.
it puts.
yeah.
It's. I think I heard the governor say before the Florida Supreme Court upheld allowing the amendment to move forward. You know, it's the most. It's the least restrictive of all.
Yeah.
I think maybe he said that about both amendments that we might talk about tonight. I'm trying to think. I'm
It's very possible.
I'm blanking.
It sounds like if you read
sounds-
the actual
it's very
language,
open-ended.
it's very open-ended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is not good for the health of the community, for the health
Well,
of women.
basically it basically means that any woman for any reason could go in and just tell and if that healthcare provider, and now I come from the healthcare background. I worked in both regular Western medicine and also holistic chiropractic, acupuncture, that aspects of it. And so it's like you have certain doctors that follow certain rules that look at certain things, and then you have some doctors that just do whatever the prescription pad tells them to do. I've been in both scenarios, and then unfortunately, if a health provider sees that they are going to get more money for any reason, some will, not all, some will throw their moral compass out the road. And like we've heard for years, like vaccinations, that there's incentivized when a percentage of your patient base is vaccinated, you get more money. So regardless of what, you're not going to look at all of the paperwork and is this healthy and all of this kind of stuff. You're going to hit those metrics to make those bonuses. And this is something that can be taken exactly the same way. Is that if a healthcare provider is like, oh, I'll do, I'll make that money, I'll be able to get that.
I can diagnose this woman and say, oh, you're upset. You're upset that you're pregnant. Oh, no, you have this isn't going to be good for you. Let's go ahead and do this.
Exactly.
And woman,
It doesn't
there's no informed
change
consent. They're
anything.
not requiring an informed consent. So this is the biggest thing that I would like to see happen in the state of Florida from our legislators. So yes, I've pulled this from a few people, so I can't take, this is not my full idea, but I've pulled it from talking to people, and I say, this is what I want to see happen. In any other medical procedure that we go through, we have fully informed consent, right? You can ask any question. You can,
Except for the COVID vaccine.
well,
Yeah.
except for the COVID vaccine and except for actual childhood vaccinations, but that's a whole
Another
other area, which I don't know that we can talk about on YouTube. We're going to get banned. We might already get banned because we said the V word.
Okay.
If we get banned on YouTube, we'll be on Rumble.
Always on Rumble.
Catch me on Rumble.
It's the only one I share.
Catch me on Rumble. So what I would like to see happen, because we know that politics is downstream of culture, right? And until we see the culture change on this issue, 15 weeks, 6 weeks, no weeks, all weeks, it doesn't matter. It's all, somebody's going to be heated and upset about it. Until the education of what this process actually is, what an abortion actually is, and the impact it can have and does have on women, on men, on families for a very long time. The
generations.
Right,
Yeah.
for a very long time. Until that is actually conveyed through education to the communities, this is going to never be resolved. You're going to have the moral stance, you're going to have the political stance, you're going to have all these things. So what I would like to see happen from our legislatures, if we can knock this down, is instead of doing just bans, 6-week bans, 15-week, all these things, it just stirs the pot. It doesn't actually solve the problem. Solving the
Correct.
problem is what we need to do. We need to have longer wait periods. We need to have more strict laws when it comes to, and more stricter enforcement and consequences on doctors who break laws. So longer waiting periods, actual informed consent. This is what the procedure is going to be. This is what you are going to be going through. You are required to have counseling before and after with a mental health professional, like real things that actually help women and men understand the process that they are about to go through. And once that happens, then we can say, okay, they still want to have it. Then they've gone through all these things, but then also a signed death certificate. Because if that happens, we can keep track of actual, like we can keep records. There's no records. We don't know how this is impacting our community. There's no acknowledgement of any of the realness of what's happening to a woman and her body and the child and all of these things. And so if we were to look at this from a let's have better education, have better processes put into place to help the community understand what exactly this is, then I think we will start to see a shift because, again, politics is downstream of culture. If the culture can shift on this, then we can start seeing the politics shift on it.
Well, we can take the money aspects out of it, too.
Yes.
So it's like if you take the incentives away from, what happens to the fetal tissue, which is from...
sold.
Right. From the organs to,
stem cells
to, to all
vaccinations.
Yes. Ingredients to medications, things of that nature. All of that fetal tissue is used. If you take the money component out of it.
Make that you can't sell body parts. We can't sell body parts. I can't go sell my kidney.
Yeah.
Pretty sure I can't sell my kidney. Can I sell my kidney?
I
don't think so.
can
I can donate my kidney.
You can be
a
willing participant.
I can't get money for my kidney.
Yeah.
Someone can't come and take my kidney and then go sell it. That's the black market. Huh?
Yes, I could.
You wake up in a bathtub of ice.
Guys, we've sitting next to Stu and I'm a little worried now. I like my kidneys, Stu. Thank you.
We've seen this movie before.
We've seen this movie right now, right? To just watch a thing about black market organs.
So I think it was tossed around of like making them more like restrictive, like, abortion centers, like funeral homes.
Yes.
Where if you take the money viability out of it, then it depletes.
Because it is human tissue, regardless of what you want to say, if it's a viable human or not viable human, it's
human
still
tissue,
human tissue. It's
Right.
still selling of a body part, whether or not you agree that that body part should have rights to life or not. It's still scientifically a human body part with DNA and tissue and stem cells and all the things.
So like we've talked about what we want to see happen. We talked about the amendment. How is it going to impact local elections?
That's correct. Okay. So I heard someone say today it could give a 4 to 5% bump to Democrats, all Democrat candidates, because it's going to drive Democrats who are not excited to vote for Biden. They don't care about voting for Biden. They're not going to vote for Trump, but they're like, not voting for Biden. I'll skip the election this year.
Home.
I'm going to stay home. They're like, nope, abortion's on the ballot. I'm going to go. And then they're going to vote D.
And marijuana.
And marijuana. Right. So that's the other one we can talk about. They'll vote D down ballot because they're like, these Republicans are trying to take away my right to an abortion. And I'm going to vote for abortion and down ballot Democrat.
Well, we stopped that by making it more obvious that this is now given to the choice of the voter. The voter has to be educated. The voter has to understand what this is going to impact. And I think candidates are best served by saying this is the great aspects of how this process is supposed to work. So because of what happened in the Supreme Court, because of what's happened in legislature, nobody is passing laws, right? And so so this is the last ditch effort, right? Is to put it into the hands of the voters. And then ultimately it's up to the voters to decide. Now like in my personal instincts, I had a daughter at 2 weeks before my 19th birthday. That wasn't an easy decision to make as a young woman who was in a domestic abuse relationship, struggling, and I had no support. Everybody told me to get an abortion. My own mother told me, get rid of it. Like that was the words that were used to me. And so though I understand that my life could have been very different if I would have went that route, I also didn't do that because this is my child who, through my trauma and everything, like I just wanted something to love me and I wanted to love something. So I held on to that and went through that process. But being a single mom, for 2 years before I met Stu, like that was a very difficult time in my life.
Right. It's not an easy thing.
Exactly.
No.
And the
either
world
decision.
Right. And the world is a better place because my daughter is in it, and I've seen her flourish and what a great young woman that she's turned out to be. And so I totally understand, but also at the same time, like, if I can do it, anybody else can do it too.
Right.
You know, so it's like it's not a death sentence for anybody except for the child that goes through this procedure out of convenience. You know, I had unprotected sex that resulted in a pregnancy. I have consequences to that.
Right.
I have to take personal responsibility, and killing an unborn child, an infant, somebody that could grow up to be something, was not an option for me. Like, and so this is a very delicate situation, but also
because it's so emotional, because there's so many women
Right.
we've been told all of these things for all of our lives.
And I have seen so many women that were my friends over the years that have been destroyed when getting an abortion. You know,
because there's no mental health support for them. That's what I'm saying. Like, they're just like,
they don't understand the real world consequences.
Exactly.
And the physical changes that your body goes through after having an abortion. Now, I've had 3 miscarriages. And so, not that it's the same thing. However, your body goes through a traumatic experience,
Yes.
whether it's abortion, whether it's miscarriage, or whether it's birth. Your body goes through
can attest.
extensive changes. And
They don't talk about that. That's because, again, there's
nobody
not
talks about
informed
that.
consent.
And it's all because of money.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
all because of money for fetal tissue. That's what this
Fetal
comes
tissue and
down
just the
to.
cost of the abortion. So, like, the
Yes.
longer, the higher the amount of weeks are, the more expensive it is. I heard it's something like $13,000 in some places to get an abortion at a later term.
Wow.
I mean, that's a lot. That's a high incentive, and that's just what they get for the abortion. Then they get to go then and sell the fetal tissue and make God knows how much.
Right.
And then you have horrible things. There's horrible people in the world, and there's things that we cannot even comprehend that they would do. And when there's no informed consent and there's no protection for the women, which is what this will do, this will happen because there is not protection written in this, and now the legislature can't write a lot of protection. I mean, they could, I guess, in theory.
All they need is a backroom door and some,
Just because it's legal doesn't make it safe.
Right.
Exactly.
Gosling, you can go look up Gosling.
Oh.
Go look him up. I'm not going to repeat anything on here because it is traumatizing what he did.
Was that the guy in Philadelphia?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yep. And it was, and he got away. He didn't get away with. He got away with it for a very
you see
long
the movie?
time. I didn't because I wouldn't sleep for
They
weeks.
They handled it well.
Did they?
But
I would
my
recommend,
gosh.
highly recommend
My
at least
gosh.
I read through all the I read everything, and I was like, that's good. I can't anymore.
Yeah.
And because there's no protection for women. So at a minimum, if this does pass for some reason, if there's a way that our legislators can still come in and at least make informed consent, at least to do these things, we need to have that because women are being harmed. And it drives me absolutely nuts. It's one of those things that the Democrats do where they say, oh, we're the party that loves you. We're the party, support women, support women, support women, support African Americans, support this community, when they're the ones that are stabbing them in the back constantly.
Yeah.
They hate women. They hate us. They look at what they're doing.
Everyone.
They hate everyone. But why should we listen to them buy their bull where they're talking about how, we're supporting women and women's rights, you should be able to have the right to do all these things. Well, I should have the right to informed consent. I should have the right to understand what the procedure is. I should have the right to know exactly what is going to happen to me both mentally, physically, and emotionally, potentially because of this procedure that I'm going to go through if a woman is making that decision. And for them to take that right away is horrible.
It's not
and
only
bad.
It's not only that
shame.
they take the right away; they gloss over it.
They
like
block
it's,
it.
Like it's
they
no
pretend
big
it's
deal.
no big deal. Oh,
It's no
no,
big
it's
deal.
not a big deal.
It's just a procedure.
It's not viable.
It's
health,
just a procedure.
It's healthcare.
It's healthcare.
Yeah.
It's
just a
healthcare.
procedure.
So all that to say, come November,
Yes.
it's going to drive Democrats out to vote because their
Thank you,
candidate
Abby.
is not exciting. Their
Candidate's not exciting.
Not exciting.
Nobody's excited to vote for Joe Biden.
No.
Wah, wah.
I mean, there's a lot of time between now and November.
I know.
Over 6 months. I mean,
do
a
we
lot
think
can
that
happen.
he's going to be the candidate?
A lot can happen in 6 months.
I know. I
But
keep telling
Are we
people.
allowed to have
regardless-
an election?
Regardless,
that's same.
this amendment is going to be on the ballot.
and
it's gonna-
marijuana. So
and
let's go to marijuana for a hot
so
second.
we've had medical marijuana since 2016. I think it
Yes.
got voted in 2016,
Yes.
and I think it took the state a little bit of time to get going on how to run it in the state. But we've had it. There are dispensaries everywhere.
You can get your
You
card.
get your card. I smell it all the time when I'm walking Buster. And I've heard the governor saying a lot in his bill signing press conferences. I try to tune in when I
Bill
can.
signing season.
Yep. He's like,
We got
I don't.
different seasons for
He's
things.
like,
I'm gonna put in my bill signing decorations.
He keeps repeating. He's like, I don't think the voters are going to smell it on every single corner in Florida, like, because that's what's going to happen. Like, we've talked about it. If you've been in Colorado
or Virginia,
like, it's everywhere, and that smell just lingers, and it is strong and sticky.
it is sticky.
So
Sticky.
it's just it's. We'll see.
What? Do you have the verbiage for this amendment?
Let me look. Sorry, I just hit something on my touch screen. I'm not used to having a touchscreen laptop, so like I hit something and it's like.
Do we have any comments on that controversial
not
topic?
Not yet. Not yet.
Dun, dun, dun.
Let's see. Let's go up to. Do you know what amendment number it is?
No.
Florida recreational.
Mirror.
There we go.
Mary Jane. Marijuana.
Let's see. It has 2018 on here, but there should be another one.
Right,
because
there was one on 2018, right?
But that was no. Yeah, they tried to pass it 2 years later.
And
it didn't work.
It just failed. It only got like 55% of the votes.
So these both need 60% of the votes.
Yes.
Just so you all know. And they needed, in order to get the abortion one on the ballot, they needed just under 1 million signatures, and they got them, obviously. So just so
actually, last I heard, they hadn't. They still had to come up with the signatures. Was it confirmed that
it wouldn't be on the? It's now confirmed. It's on the ballot. It wouldn't have gone before the Supreme Court if it wouldn't have been confirmed.
I think it was a dual thing, that it was like
Amendment 3.
That it went through the Supreme Court. They allowed it, but it didn't take away the fact that they still needed the signatures.
I don't know. We'll have to look at that.
I think they were still going through certification on the signatures.
For which one?
For the abortion.
The abortion one.
For the signatures, to see if they got all the signatures they need to get it
Still?
on the ballot. That's what she's saying.
When this first came out, I heard they were still counting and certifying signatures. So that doesn't mean they didn't have enough or that they don't have enough.
So the ballot title is Adult Personal Use of Marijuana, and the ballot summary, the proposed
Do they define adult as 18 and over or 21? Okay.
Allows adults 21 years or older to possess, purchase, or use marijuana products and marijuana accessories for non-medical personal consumption by smoking, ingestion, or otherwise. Allows medical marijuana treatment centers and other state licensed entities to acquire, cultivate, process, manufacture, sell, and distribute such products and accessories. Oh yeah, the state's going to make a boatload of money.
That's why you have dispensaries everywhere, because they're waiting for this.
Applies to Florida law, does not change or immunize violations of federal law, establishes possession limits for personal use, allows consistent legislation, defines terms, provides an effective date.
Does it say anything about the cities having any control?
I don't.
Because in Colorado, the bill that they passed in Colorado, the first landmark bill, they had an amendment in it that the cities could decide, municipalities could decide if they wanted to have dispensaries or not within their city limits.
I think that still would be a case.
I think that would be the case. I know that the city of Lighthouse Point fought and was successful in.
We have a medical one.
Where?
In Boca.
Within the city limits?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the one that's
on 2nd Avenue and Glades.
No, there's also one.
There's
I think.
a few.
I mean, the fact that it says nothing in this section
Palmetto
allows
Park.
for a violation of any law other than for conduct and compliance. I feel like other sections of the Florida Constitution grants cities rights to, whether it's zoning or, whatever the case may be. I know that the city of Lighthouse Point has prevented dispensaries and like vape shops and
yeah, they would just have to change their ordinance.
Kava and Kratom or whatever that other stuff is. I don't. They sell it at the Kava joints, and I'm like, I don't know what that is.
I still am not sure what Kava is.
All I know is this was back in like over 10 years ago now. When I my last long-term relationship, we went with a group of friends to a Kava bar in Fort Lauderdale, and everybody's like, "Oh, try this Kava." So they all had it. They all had the worst stomach aches the next day, and I'm like, "See, that's why." I'm like,
"You're like riding pretty." Nope.
You may make fun of me for my clean lifestyle, but it has saved me many.
I'm sure
many dollars and many stomach aches and headaches.
And you probably have a lot less regrets.
Oh my God, the cost of drinks these days.
I know.
We don't drink when we're out. I only get beer or wine,
Pre-game?
and that's
It's like
about it.
$20.
Yeah, I can't buy cocktails out. And you buy a cocktail. cocktail, and it's like it's just juice.
Yeah.
I'm like, where's the liquor? And it's $20.
We had a couple drinks the other night, and our bill was $50, and we had
A wedge salad.
a wedge
Oh,
salad
jeez.
that was on the happy hour meal. Jessica had soup, and we had 2 drinks.
$60.
Where?
$60.
That was
I'm
a
not
fif-
gonna say.
Well, yeah, it is.
I'm not gonna say.
Okay,
where.
don't say
But
where.
I mean, it's like the drinks are like $17, $18.
I mean, the soup was delicious, but it wasn't.
I mean, that's how
$60,
it's been. It was in Miami for a really long time. When we go to Miami, the drinks in Miami were always like at least $15, if not more.
Yeah.
And we were like, going to Miami is very expensive. And now that's like normal here.
Yeah.
In Miami, it's like 22.
Ugh.
Yeah.
No, we really don't go out in Miami.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think
old for that.
anybody's gonna be. I don't know. I think I don't see anybody driving out. A big thing for the
Marijuana?
marijuana.
I don't know.
Well,
So-
you'll get your Zoomers.
Yeah, you'll get, you'll get your crowd, but it's not going to
It's not the same the way. I don't know that it would give the bump.
We gotta
down ballot the way
recruit
that abortion will.
we gotta recruit the NIMBY people out, the not in my backyard people out that like get them to vote
Yes.
against it.
Honestly, look, I'm not. I will not vote for it. But it's not.
I just don't want to smell it all the time.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right.
But then, wouldn't there be like smoking laws? Don't smoking laws
Yeah,
apply
still,
to it?
Oh, yeah,
still smoking
still.
laws apply.
Yeah.
So I mean, can't like.
They need to start doing vaping laws too.
Ugh.
I can't believe I went into Town Center Mall. This was like back in the fall, and I went into Victoria's Secret, and like this dude was like vaping in Victoria's Secret. I'm like,
That makes
I-
the clothes
I go,
smell.
I go and I'm checking out at the back register. He was like, they had like a little kiosk register like towards the front, and he was there with his girlfriend or wife or whatever. And I'm checking out at the back register. I'm like saying to the employee, I'm like, is that guy allowed to vape in this store? And she's like, I don't think so. She's like, I think they can vape out in the main area.
Yeah.
of the mall. Like, ugh.
It makes I'd be
Yeah.
like really
I
annoyed
think
if I was
that's
a
what
retailer.
you'll see. I think you'll see places crack down a little bit more
Yeah.
on,
On,
what,
like,
on,
this
on what they allow and things. of
Public,
that
and then
nature.
like cities
'Cause
can
else
say
every place is gonna
ordinances.
smell like skunk.
Ugh.
We'll know where the skunky places are.
Ugh. I just, and I like being on the employer side of things. Like once the medical marijuana passed, like if you're a drug-free workplace, like you can still disallow it as an employer, and it just gets harder and harder because I mean, like marijuana is one of those things. It stays in your bloodstream for
Well,
so
not only that, it
long.
makes it even harder to find good candidates to
That
work.
too.
So then,
That
like
too.
your candidate pool shrinks.
Yeah.
And then
It's like drug-free workplace plus you got to have a clean driving
So
record.
with
It's like
the
a unicorn in Florida.
hashtag Florida man. Oh, I have a question. I have to know. What? Use 2 words to describe our state. First 2 that come to mind without using the name of the state.
Without using the name of the state.
Yeah.
2 words.
Alligators.
And 2
Swamp.
Words. 2 words. You go 2 words. 2 words. 2 words.
Okeechobee. Lake Okeechobee.
Is that 2?
Freedom
is that-
Swamp.
Jessica.
Don't
think so hard. Just go.
I don't know. I would think alligators and oceans.
Okay. So I I read this is on Instagram Reel, and I was like, what would I say? And I was like, my first thought was like bath salts. So here's what's even funnier.
Zombies.
So I asked my husband, and he's from Missouri. So he says, show me, which is the show me state. And I was like, no, not Missouri, the state that you live in now, right here. He goes, bath salts. He didn't know what I said. And I was like, oh, man.
Bath salt.
Oh,
Bath
that's
salts.
hilarious. Oh, that's
So
so funny.
I've been asking everyone now because I'm very curious.
I don't know. There must be zombies coming because there's been like this huge thing. Like every time I turn around, it's like I'm talking about zombies or zombies are being represented somehow. I'm like,
So we went from bath salts to zombies.
I know.
There's where were we at? There was a conversation about that Costco, and that's where they go for if there was a zombie.
Oh, was that on
apocalypse.
Tim Pool?
Yes,
that was on Tim Pool.
that
Yeah, I
was,
love that.
yes.
I was going to Costco. He was like, who was it? It was Nick Freitas. Shout out. Oh my gosh. Okay, so Nick Freitas, I say his name wrong all the time. Freitas. He, follow him on Instagram, man. First of all, he's a flippin' hilarious dude. He's a assemblyman in Virginia, so it's just
Oh,
essentially
yes.
the same
He's
as a state
also-
legislature.
Yeah.
Wasn't he a SEAL or he was in the?
He was in some
Marine
special
or
Yeah, I
forces.
think
something
I've
like that
seen
too, right?
when he was running. I think I saw some of his
Yeah,
stuff.
he's so funny. So he's got such personality too. Plus, he's very good. Like he's good at good legislator and everything. And And so, yeah, he goes, my wife was wondering what I was thinking. He's like, I'm basically thinking about one of like a couple things. And one of them was, well, if the zombie apocalypse, Costco's the place that I would go. How to fortify it, how to do all these things. And he's like, really, I'm hoping it's during like hot tub season. So there's hot tubs in there. You got food in there. You got grills. You got all the things. That's where I'm fortifying for the zombie apocalypse. And I told Nick, and he was like, Yep. Sounds about right.
I did. I was watching it and I looked at Stu. I was like, we're going to Costco.
Yep.
It's right up the road.
Either the
Right up the
Costco or the gun stores.
Yeah, but there's no like food in the gun store. It's just beef jerky.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying go there and get the guns. That's
You
all.
hit the gun store first, and then you go to Costco, and then you fortify
right.
Costco.
Yeah.
And he's like talking about how he's like, well, and then they like literally like game theoried it out. Like, oh, well, how many people would you need in order to breach? And he's like, well, do blockade and all. And he's just game theory this whole thing. Yeah, he's really thought about this.
And
And I was like,
zombies
wow.
aren't very smart, I think they said.
Yeah, he's like, zombies aren't very smart.
Well, they're
so
zombies.
they're zombies.
Right,
You just got to
right,
barricade the doors,
exactly.
and you're good to go. So that's apparently where we're all going. So see you guys, zombie apocalypse at Costco.
Costco.
Woohoo! Oh my gosh. Do we have any comments or questions?
Rose watching.
Hi,
and
Ro.
Said still verifying
Ro.
signatures. How can they verify vote by mail signatures so fast for 4 million ballots? But I think you're talking about the petition signatures.
Yeah. So if they couldn't do the vote by mail for 4 million, then how are they taking so long to do
do
the
the
petition ones for this? So I think
petition.
they must be done.
They're
Maybe.
probably done.
They might be by now. I think when it first came out, what was that, 2 weeks ago?
I don't remember.
That they
It's
were
all
still
time
counting
is a time. It's
signatures,
in a
so.
time warp.
I haven't heard that they didn't. I'm sure it would have
yeah,
been national
yeah.
news if they didn't get
Yeah.
the ballot signatures.
No, they
or
would have
the
just quietly put it
petition.
away. Like they would have been like, back in our
yeah, that's true.
pocket. We're
Yeah.
not going to advertise that we didn't get the
That's true.
signatures.
Mm.
So earlier we talked about how the Democratic Party is not putting any money into Florida. That is true.
The national
party.
The national
But I do think just kind of
And we kicked their butt in state for this quarter, by the way,
in the state
In fundraising?
funding
in fundraising. Yeah, they got like 1.1. And I think we got 8.
million.
Well, have you seen all of the state Republican legislators that have like donated like 6 figures to the state party?
Whoa!
Like different legislators, like senators and House.
They are
reps.
gearing up to hold on
Oh
to the
yeah.
state.
Oh yeah, like 100,000, 250,000.
I
like,
wonder they're going to pick the races that they're going to support, and there's
Well, and that's
certain
what I was gonna
races that the
say.
Democrats are going to try to hold on to.
I was gonna say, like when you're talking about Peggy, like now that she's an incumbent, she will get way
Yeah.
more money from
Yeah.
the state
and she
party.
got a lot of money from the state party
because
before.
they had identified her race as
right.
one.
Well, they didn't want Andy.
yeah.
Right.
It was really, I mean, they were supporting Peggy because I think they thought she was a good, viable candidate. But I really think a lot of that had to do with the fact that they were trying to block
Andy.
Andy from trying to ascend to governor,
Yeah.
which is what the path they were trying to put him on.
Yeah.
Governor, we're gonna be talking governor races soon.
Oh my God, everybody is talking.
One
governor.
cycle at a time.
I
Josie,
know,
one
I
cycle
know,
at a
I know,
time.
I know. I
Um,
just like game theorying it all out and like
The names that I have heard, I'm just like, oh my God,
I know.
oh my God,
Yeah.
very interesting.
Something coming up very soon.
Yes.
That Broward residents need to be mindful of. Actually, next Thursday. No. What's today? The 11th. Sorry.
I don't
Next,
know.
the 16th. Tuesday. Next Tuesday. Next Tuesday, the county is having the sales tax increase come back before the commission for the medical.
Oh, for the heart thing.
0.25% sales tax increase for the medically.
This still just boggles my mind.
So when was it? Early last month? Early March when they first discussed it at the
Yeah.
We
commission
talked
meeting?
about it at our last podcast.
And
Yeah.
the commission voted 5-4 to advance it, but they basically told the what do they call it? The commissioner that put forth the measure.
that he needs to come up with a better plan.
Correct. Yeah. So they were giving him basically a month to get.
So that's that meeting.
So this is the meeting. So
Tuesday.
probably 10 a.m. It'll probably be a time certain agenda item. They typically do time certain.
They
for
do
stuff.
time certain agenda items.
What's a
Yeah.
time certain agenda?
So if there's a specific, so like for instance, I think this was a time certain item. No, it was just one of the first ones after they passed the consent agenda. But they do time certain for both county commission and I think school. No, yeah, school board too. Where if it's like a hot button topic, agenda item, and they know a lot of people are showing up to speak about it, they will set a time certain. So like that they're going to discuss
Palm Beach
this.
County, come on.
They will discuss
Why are
that
we doing
item
this?
at a specific time, and
That's just so that
Oh, so it's at a
Palm
specific
Beach County does
time,
not
but
do that.
for a specific length.
Right.
Correct. Yeah.
So they'll pause the agenda
they'll
to
pause
go
the
to
agenda
that.
to go to
item.
this item. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, my first county commission meeting, I was just telling someone about this today because they asked me how I got into politics. And I was telling them, I was like, my first county commission meeting, I sat for at least 2 to 3 hours.
Oh yeah.
While the county commission argued about a Palm Beach Post article. Who said what and why they looked this way and who argued about it. And I was like, that was my intro into sitting through these meetings, waiting for my agenda item to be called.
Yeah.
Come on, Palm Beach County, let's get it together.
Yeah. Well, now there could be an argument made about maybe they won't make certain agenda items time certain because they want the people to either.
Well,
rot or
that's why
leave.
I think. Well,
Yeah.
that's our the
Yeah.
conspiracy theory is that they don't.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true. I don't know.
I don't know who determines what's going to be a time certain item
And
or
how
not.
does that? Is that like in the rules and regs, or is that like a county charter thing?
I don't know.
I'm
I don't know.
curious. I have questions. Okay, so back to this. It's Tuesday.
I'm assuming
Rabbit trail over
I'm
there.
assuming the county commission meeting starts at 10 a.m. because that's when they usually start. There'll be some proclamations and presentations at the beginning, and then they'll probably pass the consent agenda and then have this item. Most likely.
So if you're in Broward County and you don't want to pay extra money to have heart screenings for people,
And if you missed our last episode about
Yes.
this, they devoted, was it 10 million
something like that.
to pilot
that's what you
this
said.
program, and they've only spent like 1 or 2 million.
Did you test a very specific type of
Cardiac
heart?
screening on the indigent and medically poor in Broward County, which is like I think it's a pretty specific set of demographics, but they couldn't get people to volunteer to come do this test.
And now they want to expand it and tax you.
and the
in order to
tax would
pay for
generate
it.
$100 million a year for this program for 10
Somebody's
years.
pocketing money.
It's like, what are they, if they can't spend 10 million, how are they going to spend this 100 million? And
Oh, they
there-
can't. Oopsies, we're just going to
It's
have
not
to
about
take
the
it in a
people.
surplus.
No. Well, and it's like it's a noble cause theoretically to
It's not government's job.
but and several of the commissioners said that during the meeting, like it is we as a county commission are not in the healthcare business. Like this should be passed through the hospital districts.
Already
Oh,
pay
yeah.
taxes to the hospital districts.
Yeah.
Even if you don't use the hospital hardly ever. I mean, it's there if you need it, but you're paying for the hospital
Yeah.
already.
Yeah.
I did. Speaking of adding a sales tax, I believe that the county commission put through something about half-cent tax for school board. The school board is going after
Yes.
a half penny
Yeah.
sales tax.
Stay out of our pocket. You already get enough money. A $5.6 billion
That's what I
budget
said.
is enough.
That's exactly what I said.
Account for how you are spending $25,000
and the
per
reason-
student, and then we can talk
The
about
reason they did that is because
it.
they've already
Sunsetted of the
they
other one.
sunsetted the other one, which they were getting half, right?
Yes.
And so this is to replace the half that they
Yeah,
that
no,
sunsetted.
no, you already got extra money last time.
Yeah.
No. And you're not going to go. Listen, you know what they told that? You know how they got that money? They told all the teachers that if they didn't get that, if this didn't get passed, then they were going to lose their mental health services. So
Yeah.
the teachers are like, oh my gosh, we need that. No questions as to why,
That
how.
sounds like bribery.
And $5.6 billion, 25, roughly, math, give or take a few hundred thousand or two. Still, $25,000 per student is what is spent in Palm Beach County. And they want more.
Yeah.
I spend $10,500 for private school.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a lot of school board candidates, and I don't hear anybody talking about the details of the budget and where the money is going. And,
Challenge.
Well,
and
something that
how that it's how they're going to change it. And now, like, I would love to see Republican candidates stand up and say no. Until we have a full audit of everything that's going on within the school board and where our money is going, because it is not going to our children.
It's not going to the children, and it's not going to the teachers.
Right.
Well, and I don't know. Speaking of auditing and budgets and whatnot, I mean, Broward District Schools is a hot mess.
Tell
right
us
now.
what's
Oh,
going
yeah.
on.
So I mean, the school district got called up by the State Board of Education because they
Man,
were
Broward
supposed
is
to
under the
pay-
microscope.
They were supposed to pay, I want to say, like 70 or 80 million to the charter schools because
Yep.
the charter schools get a
Yeah.
portion of, the funding or the taxes. and they've been fighting it, but like they were told, you've got to pay this. And they used that money to pay teachers' raises. And now they need to pay the charter schools. And it's like, well, how? I mean, like enrollment is down. They're talking about closing different schools.
5. I heard they want to close
At
5
least
schools.
5. At least 5 schools this year. And now, like, it's a shell game of like, where'd the money go? Where'd the money go? Well, you used it, and not to mention all of the like the American Rescue Plan and the COVID relief funds and like all this stuff. But it's like, where's all this money? It's not going to. And the only teachers that got approved raises, and our guest of the show, Tori Alston, is ruffling some feathers because he's talking about taking back the raises because only the BTU members were given the raises, not the other union members, not the non-union members, not the non-union employees. Only the BTU members got the raises because they're union negotiated. And, so there's a lot.
Oh, snap.
There is a lot going on at the school
That happened
board.
in Palm Beach County, but they voted to release the money to the charter schools. Like it wasn't a big.
Well,
wasn't
and
a
now
big
they're
deal.
calling for the board attorney, who's been the attorney. She was like an interim attorney, but now she's the permanent
How did
attorney.
they justify
they're
that?
calling for her to be fired because she, like, whenever I watch the school board meetings, like, she gives the most wishy-washy answers.
Oh, that's like the attorney in Boca.
yeah. It's like,
She's a
well,
six-
I thought she was a
council member.
councilman.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just like
That's because she doesn't want to be held liable for any of her
Correct.
answers. She's a
Correct.
lawyer. She gives
Yeah.
lawyer talk.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's a hot mess.
Disaster, man.
We've got a couple candidates already running for school board. Dan Fogenholy is running in District 1.
Mhm.
Tory hasn't made his intentions known, but I think he said last fall when he was on the show that he's running for something.
Mm-hmm.
He just hasn't decided what.
Tory.
And
Tory.
there's
if you'd
5.
like to come back on the show, you can only come back on the condition that you're running.
You announce.
there are 5 seats, 5 of the 9 seats in the Broward School Board that are up for election this fall.
And do we have candidates?
We
not
have
all of them.
well, I mean, it's they have to qualify,
Right.
So
Qualifying. So that's the thing. A lot of it, gotta remind you guys, qualifying. Until qualifying happens, it is the wild freaking west.
Yep.
yeah,
Anybody can do anything. Anybody can drop. I mean, you can drop at any point.
Yeah.
Anybody can join. That's the key thing. Anybody
Yeah.
can join.
You're gonna all of a sudden start to see these candidates coming out of nowhere, and they're gonna ruffle feathers, and they're
And it's going to be fun. So pop some popcorn. And
Yep.
it ain't over until those
I mean, just look at
I's
me.
are dotted and T's
Just
are
look at
crossed.
me or you.
Yeah.
2 and 3 years ago,
Yeah.
like we filed at the very last.
Marcy
11th
filed like
hour.
the week before?
Yeah.
the week of
Yeah.
The week of
week of
qualifying.
qualifying.
Now, obviously, as a candidate, it's a way easier, like, to qualify if you're out there working ahead of time, getting.
Yeah, don't
you
recommend.
Can avoid. You can.
Don't recommend doing it that way.
You can
In case anybody's listening.
avoid having to pay the filing fee if you get enough signatures, petitions.
Which you still have to
Right.
pay for verification of the signatures. Just a reminder.
Yes.
Yes.
So you do have to pay for
They
that.
don't ever know that part.
I know. They're like, wait, I
How
have
much
to
do
pay
you
for this?
pay?
What is it,
Depends.
5 cents a signature?
Oh, I thought it was more than that.
I don't know. I should
I
know
thought
that
it was
as
like
a campaign
50
manager.
cents or $1 or something.
No, I don't think it's that much.
No?
And depending on the level of the seat you're running for, like the
Yeah,
number of
did-
signatures
yeah.
and the dollar amount of
So,
the filing
like
fee, it goes
for
up.
the state legislature, we have to have it's about even the amount of signatures for the amount of dollars.
It's
so
like
it's
a
about
percentage of
$1,200 and something dollars.
Oh, okay.
To
That's-
file, and then it's about 1,200 and something.
Was it
signatures.
Marcy's filing fee like $6,000?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Ooh.
her salary is
It's
much
more
higher.
than now. It's
Oh.
more than that now. It's almost $8,000.
The salary is higher, so
Yeah.
it's a percentage of
It's-
the salary.
Which is why my filing fee was $18.
No, for Boca, my filing fee was $350.
Yeah.
$18.
Ooh! Broke the bank, did it?
It was weird. I had to fill out like a new hire packet with the city
Oh,
How
last
many-
week
how
because
many-
I'm like an employee. I'm gonna get a paycheck.
How many signatures did you have to get?
10. 10.
That's how like
Well,
Boynton
good thing
is.
you have
For the
more than 10
record,
friends.
something to watch where I know
was running around that Thursday night, like going to like my neighbors and then to some of my
when
high
you were
school
qualifying. See, like when I ran, you didn't have the signatures. That was on
Yeah.
the ballot with me.
Right.
Was to add the signatures in. So now it's 200 signatures in
Yeah.
Boca and 350. So there's no percentages. Boca's just like arbitrary. Like 200 sounds like a good number. Sounds about right.
Well, I mean, 10's arbitrary too. And
That's true.
Peggy has to get 1,300 signatures. She was getting petition signed last time.
Yeah, so that's the same with Bill.
1,300,
Yeah, we need 13. It's actually a little less than that, but it's around to round the number up.
But
we round
you
that up
really
to
want to get more
1300.
than that because they're going to throw some out.
Exactly.
Correct. So you
Not
really
only
want
that-
like 1,500.
Not only that, you want to make sure that they're legible.
Yeah.
Because I'm scanning all of ours for bills to put them into our system, so we know who signed our petition. We can keep track through Salvo who signed the petition, so we can reach out to them directly.
Thank them and
Yes.
Yeah.
So I can't tell you how many I cannot read
yeah.
the names. Some people don't put the dates on them.
Because they have to sign them, but they also have to print their name somewhere.
They have to print their name at the top
their
and
name
then
and
sign
then
at the
sign
bottom. And so I have to play detective and be like, okay, is this the zip code? Using the zip code and the address and be like, well, that name matched that with that address. Is this the right person? It's fun. It's fun. It's fun.
But as far as
it takes
the
so much time.
But as far as the signature matching
It's
goes,
not fun.
it like they are matching it to their DMV signature, correct?
So I tell
Well, it depends on what they have on file.
it's what's on the voter rolls.
Oh,
Yeah.
voter registration signature.
yeah, which
too.
is usually your DMV signature.
Yeah, unless
So-
you've updated your registration recently.
Right. So I usually tell people that. So yeah. So make sure that why was I saying that? Yeah, make sure it's legible and
Yeah.
make sure it has the date on it and all of the information.
And if you're asked to sign a petition, please consider doing it. You're not
You're not.
No.
You're not beholden to that candidate. You're not voting for that candidate.
It's just to give them the
You're-
chance to get on the ballot.
Exactly.
I'll sign
Especially
anybody's
this year.
petitions.
Yeah.
2 years ago, the candidates had an easy go because there was
Yes.
redistricting
Oh, it
year,
was
and so
so
they
great.
anybody
Everybody
in the
could sign.
state.
Everybody got petitions signed. It was like
Yeah.
a signing. It was like I was like giving my I was like
But
signing
now-
autographs at REC
Yeah.
meetings. I'll sign your petition. I'll sign your
Now
petition.
you have to be in the
In
district which
the
you're
district.
running
A registered
for.
voter in the district
Yeah.
that you're running for. Yep.
So
Makes it much more difficult. So we're so
smaller pool.
smaller pool and what was I going to say about that? There was something. Shoot, don't remember, guys. Shoop, out the door.
So
So
sh-
Broward School Board.
yeah,
Oh, we should
we're
probably
gonna have
wrap
to
up
start
soon.
wrapping up here soon. But yeah, so we've got some candidates that some have filed, some are talking about filing. So
And just a
we'll see.
reminder
TBD.
that school board votes candidates are on the ballot in August.
Yeah, because
Everyone
if
likes
nobody
to
gets
forget that.
50% or over 50%, then it goes to a runoff.
That it goes to a runoff. So
When is-
make sure that you are not, it's a primary. I don't care. I'll just vote for the general for whoever wins the primary. You've lost your chance to control the $5.6 billion.
And that's why
more than
we,
that in Broward.
And that's why we lose the school board races.
Yeah.
Right there. That's exactly why we lose the school board races.
So
When
we
does
have
qualifying end for school board?
June.
all
It's
qualifying
all June.
ends and beginning of June. All qualifying
Like
for
some-
everything.
around
So-
the 10th or
No,
something.
that's not
Judges
true.
was-
That's not
Judges
Judges
is
like this week.
April 26th.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Sorry.
judges
I
are a different
misspoke.
beast.
Judges don't count. Just kidding. I'm kidding. Actually, I would love to have
Yes,
a judge.
they do.
No,
Actually-
I know. We should have a judge on. If
My
you- if
friend,
there's a-
now he's an appointed judge. He's not a district court, like a county district court judge. But Kevin Tynan, who was a Breck member with me, got appointed by DeSantis to the Broward bench, and he had his investiture. It was him and another woman got appointed, and their investiture was last Friday.
I would like to talk to that type of judge, and I'd also like to interview a judge that gets
Candidate?
a candidate judge. So if anybody has a candidate judge,
I actually have somebody working on all of the judges, so maybe
Awesome.
and
Yeah.
he knows a couple of
I
them.
would like
so
to interview. I would have
I
a
could-
lot of questions.
We could probably make that
I
happen.
think that'd be a great interview. So help us out,
Mhm.
audience members.
We can do that.
Like, share, and subscribe, and also see if you have a candidate that you would like us to consider interviewing. We reserve the right to make that decision. It is our microphone. Let us know. We'll talk about it. We are currently only looking at candidates since it is we the locals, local candidates, state level down. So if they're running in a race that is a state level down, that might, we'll talk
Yeah, we're
later
gonna-
on the road. We'll see, but state
I'll
levels.
actually talk about this for a second if
Yeah.
you're okay with it. So we have a candidate special for 2024, $150. You get a shout out, and I will create a website page of candidates to watch, which would put your link information on there. So if you are interested and you want to reach our viewers for $150 a month, you will get a little shout out and a link on our website page.
Yeah.
As candidates to watch. So if you're interested in that, please reach out to us. You can email us at wethelocalsfl@gmail.com for that information.
Yeah. So, and if you like I said, if you're an audience member and you have a candidate that you want us to interview, let us know. We'll consider it. We're
Yeah.
open for suggestions. Again, we reserve the right. if you want to have that right, you can have your own
Or if there's
microphone.
an elected official that's in
Or an
office.
elected official, yeah. Again,
Somebody you wanna
state level
hear from.
down. Somebody you want to hear from? Let us know. We've got some coming up that we're considering, so we don't want to say anything yet until they're booked. But we've got. I think we're gonna have some.
We're gonna have some
We're
great
gonna
guests.
have some great
We've
guests.
got, I mean, we've got 6 months,
Gosh, 204 days.
That doesn't
12
sound that
episodes
It doesn't
between now
sound-
and election day, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that doesn't sound that long.
It's going to fly by.
it's gonna fly
Gonna
by.
fly
Like
by.
that.
Oh, God, yeah.
And then it's also gonna feel like it's 1,000 years at the same
Yep,
time.
At the same time.
So,
You're moving
we've got
fast and slow.
We've got 12 episodes between now and election day, so we're
Yeah.
we're going to bring the candidates on. We're going to interview some candidates, and try to keep our audience as informed as possible as they head to the
That's
polls
right.
in the fall.
Or we the locals. Well, it's all about local. It's all about all politics is local. All politics is downstream from culture. So we need to be the culture changes and the local focuses
And
in our community.
I just want to say one final thing about just being in town, and we've said this many times on the show before, but like at the very local level, at municipal level. Most of the issues are nonpartisan. So we talked a lot about abortion tonight,
Yeah.
which is a very hot button topic, and it's not really a local issue at all.
No.
And I met with a resident last Saturday that we have opposing viewpoints. She wanted to meet with me because, she knew that we had some opposing viewpoints, and she wanted to make sure that I was going to be nonpartisan up on the dais. And I reassured her that, I am. I have my own personal values, but I am a representative of the residents of Lighthouse Point, all the residents of Lighthouse Point. And when you take that oath, and you get up on the dais, like you have to, you kind of have to put your own personal feelings aside. And it's like, well, what did the people of my town, elect me to?
Right.
To represent them, and what issues are important to them, and what's in the best interest of the majority of my residents.
Absolutely.
And so,
It's not an easy thing.
and like I said, we've talked about this before, like the local issues are nonpartisan. It's
Right.
bridges and it's paving and it's, stuff like that where it
Taxes,
affects everybody, and it's
Millage rates, all that
Yes.
kind of stuff. And I want to also, the only reason I brought up abortion is because it's going
it's
to
going to impact the
impact
local.
our local
Yeah.
candidates. And
Right.
I appreciate you, Abby, keeping us on point with how that's going to do that. I get a little heated about that topic and
Yes.
just frustration at where we're at with
Well,
it.
it's
But
a heart issue.
it's a heart
It's
issue.
something that
for both
regardless
sides,
of what
and
side
that's
you're
why
on,
it's going
yeah.
to drive out the vote, and that's why we're having this conversation full circle. Is
Mm-hmm.
because it could have an impact, and so we need to be, as people who are focused on the local, we need to be prepared for it and ready to talk about it and ready to
I think
coach our candidates
think
through
also-
it or whatever it may be.
I think it says a lot more about them than it does us in all reality. So it is
If
what
that's
it is.
yeah, so
So.
that's all I got.
Yeah.
Hope see you guys soon.
All right, so be sure you can follow us on Twitter or X, We the Locals FL, Facebook, We the Locals. You can check out our website, WeTheLocalsPodcast.com, to donate, subscribe. You'll get updates, and I mentioned the email as well. Anything that you want us to know, hear about, you can email us at WeTheLocalsFL@gmail.com. So have a great night, everybody, and be sure to stay local.
Bye.
Bye.